Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how you can serve your local Next.js application through a secure public domain provided by Ngrok, and this domain is absolutely free. So when you sign up, Ngrok allows you to set up one free domain, and you'd be free to use that domain to tunnel your local applications, and they'll be available through the internet. So this is my simple web app, and you can see that the connection is secure. So there are several scenarios that will require you to use a public domain or a public access of your local app or your development application. We have cases like testing webhooks. So when you want, for example, to set up a Stripe, and you want your Stripe to be sending the events back to your web app or Next.js application or API endpoint, then you'll need to have a publicly accessible domain. Then other applications can be PayPal or Google, GitHub, or even Twilio for the SMS. So this is very useful. Other scenarios can be maybe you're working on a project together, and you are located in different you are in different geographical locations. Then you'll want maybe to just show a section or a part you've been working on without actually deploying the whole application to the GitHub repo or the version control. Then this is going to be very helpful. Other cases can be testing the authentication or callbacks. Then this is going to be very useful. So this is how the app works. If I go to the code base, you can see that this is my code base, and when I do the Control-C, it's just going to stop the tunnel, and it's also going to stop my application. So if I come back and just refresh this, you see that everything is closed. So there's this error. But when I go back and just run one command, which is npm run tunnel, that is going to spin back the application with the same domain without changing the domain. So if I come back and refresh, this is going to bring back my UI. So it's back. Apart from that, I can also access it through localhost 3000, and you see the application is here. So if I go back and kill it with the Control-C, it kills the tunnel, and it also kills the application itself. So let me just refresh this, and you can see that the site cannot be reached. If I go to the tunnel and also refresh the domain, everything is off. Last testing before we start doing the configuration. I'll restart the tunnel again, and just going back to my browser. If I restart through the domain, I'll also restart through the localhost. Localhost is back, and the domain is also back. So that's enough for the demo and introduction. Let's do the setup and the configuration. This is my application before I implemented Ngrok tunneling. If you look at package.json, these are the scripts that Next.js comes with by default when you bootstrap or when you install your application for the first time. Then I'll quickly run a test with npm run dev. So this is going to start my app at localhost 3000. And if you look at the environment variables, I have the port and the node environment. So just opening this in the browser is going to open this here at localhost 3000. So everything else is working as expected. My simple shopping cart, as they had shown earlier. I'll proceed to Ngrok website. So I'll just type Ngrok. Then, because I already have an account, I'll go ahead and log in. So when I log in, the first page is going to present you with the installation and the integration with different infrastructure, agents, and SDKs. So we are interested in Node.js. So if you click on that, because Next.js is a Node.js application, there is a Ngrok Node.js guide here. And there's a lot of documentation that you can dig in if you want to get more details. You can also get that documentation from NPM. So if I go to NPM website and search for Ngrok, you can see that it's available here in TypeScript also. And down here there is documentation you can use to link your app or tunnel your app to Ngrok. Apart from that, when you sign up, by default you'll not have this set up. So I have set up my domain, which is one domain you'll be given. If you want additional domain, that you have to pay for it. So if you sign up, you'll go ahead and click on a new domain, then you'll be able to set up your domain. But for my case, I already have mine set up, and I'll not be able to set up another domain because I don't have a paid version. But this is enough. Then apart from that, there is the authentication section. So if you click on your authentication, you'll be able to access your OAuth token. Let me reveal this because it's possible to reset the token. So after recording the video, I'm going to reset this for security purposes. So I'll go ahead and copy this and just add to my environment variable, then save it. Then I'll follow the documentation just to set it up here. So we need to connect it, and the connection we'll just create a variable and of course use the Ngrok package that we are going to import from Ngrok and pass several keys or parameters within the object that we need. Now this is not a Node.js application, so we need to find a way around that so that we are able to integrate this within the Next.js. In the process, we do not want to interfere with the normal working of your Next.js application. So in that case, I'll be forced to create a separate file. Within the root, I'll just create a file and call it ngrok.ts. And then remember, we need to first of all install it before we start using it. So I'll just copy this, come to my terminal and kill this. I'll also just zoom so that it's much visible, like that. So after installing, I need to get the command, then come here and paste it there so that it's installed. I will also want to use the .env within the Node.js environment, not the built-in for the Next.js. So I'll need to install .env. So let me just run the command npm i .env. So that way I'll be able to call this variable within this TypeScript file. So let's go ahead and do that. First thing is to import the package, which is Ngrok from Ngrok. So I'll do that. I'll import Ngrok from Ngrok. Then I'll also import .env from .env. The next step is just to initialize the .env. So that is going to be .env .config. So I'll call the config method. Then after that, I want to run the app concurrently, so that first of all, I'll start the Next.js with this command, which is going to run the Next.js dev, then with the flag of turboback. Then after running that, I'm going to run this file like a Node.js file. So I need to install a package known as concurrently. So concurrently is going to help us achieve that. I'm just looking for the command to install concurrently. So this is the command npm install concurrently. I'll go ahead and do that. So it's installed. Then after that, I'll create my server. I'll create a tunnel function, a function that is going to allow me pass the credentials of the Ngrok and the authentication, and also tunnel the localhost, the 3000 to, the domain to localhost 3000. So let's do that. I'll just create a function and I'm going to call it start Ngrok. Like that. This is going to be a synchronous function. And of course, I'll use the try catch so that in case it doesn't connect, I should be able to catch the errors. So based on the docs, I'll need to create the URL. So I'll go ahead and just copy this, paste it here, then pass the object. This object, I need to pass the address. So address stands for the port at which I'm channeling my app to. So I'll need to create the port or refer to this port 3000 from this section. So I'll just create a constant here, and I'll call it port. So const port would be the same as the process because we already have the env. So process .env, then we mention the variable. Of course, it's a port. So in case we don't have that, then we shall just fall back to 3000. And that, then in the address we call the port. The other variable or parameter we need to pass is the authentication token. So that is known as the auth token. Then the auth token, of course, is in the environment variable. So process.env. The name of the variable. So I'll just copy this and add here. Apart from the auth token, we now need to pass the domain. So the domain is known as the host name. And just make sure that the spelling is correct. So I'll just go back to my Ngrok and get my domain. So if I click on the domains and I click on it again, there's a section here I can copy. So I'll just copy the domain and go back to my editor and pass it as a string like that. Then I'll just run a bunch of console logs to show you in your terminal that everything is fine. So the first one, I'll just log that the tunnel is established at this URL, and I'll also say that forwarding my URL to this. So the URL is this one here. Then after doing that, I'll also catch some errors at the bottom. Let me just copy that quick and paste it there. So in case there's any error, then I'll want to catch them there. Then when I'm shutting the whole application with Control C, I also want to shut down my tunnel. So to do that, let me just add some command here. Comment. I'll just say graceful shutdown like that. Then the process .on, when there is an event emitted by the Next.js application, not the Next but the Node.js, and the event is signet. So when we shut down, this event is emitted. We want to pass an anonymous function here, which is a synchronous function. And in this function, first of all, I'll just log that the server is shutting down, or we are shutting down Ngrok. Save that. Then I'll await Ngrok .kill method, which is this one here. So this is going to kill the tunnel. Then process.exit. So we've just mentioned, we've just configured the function, but we are yet to call it. So we need to call it down here, which is start Ngrok function, like that. So after doing this, we need to configure a different TS config for the Node.js file now that I've created here. That is outside our Next.js app, because we don't want to mess with the configuration or normal working of the Next.js application. So to achieve that, after creating the file, first of all, I need to compile this. I need to compile this file to just a Node.js or a JavaScript file, not a TypeScript file. So I'll just go ahead and create that TS config for the Ngrok specifically. So remember, the one that we have here is the Next.js config, and we have the TS config. This is for our Next.js application, and we don't want to mess up this. So I'll go ahead and create a new one known as TS. Let me just get the whole name. I'll just rename this to TS config like that. Then inside this TS config, I'll paste this code. So the module is just the common JS, and we want to serve this folder. So which means we are going to compile our file to this dist ngrok, and the file is the ngrok.ts. Remember, the ngrok.ts is also in the root directory of our project. So after doing that, we do the compilation. So to compile that, you just pass this command. Let me just zoom and expand my terminal. So you pass the command npx ts compile this to compile our ngrok. Our tsconfig.ngrok.json. So our tsconfig file for ngrok. So when I run this command, let me just zoom back a little. It's going to compile the file. So you see it created this directory here, or a folder, and compiled our code to JavaScript. Then after doing that, we are on the last section, which is now going to package.json. Everything here comes by default, so I'll just add a separate script that is going to run my tunnel, and I have prepared that script in the notes. I'll just copy and paste it there, and I'll explain what it does. So I'll paste this here. So the script name, I'm calling it tunnel, and it's going to run concurrently. So the first thing is going to run our Next.js app, which is just the same as this one here. Then after running it, it will now run the ngrok, the compile ngrok file, which is ngrok.js, that is within the dist ngrok, like that. So you can either run your app using dev, and that is not going to run the ngrok. It will only run the Next.js alone. You can do the build, the start. Of course, these are things that do not require the ngrok, but if you want to do the ngrok, then this is the command that you'll use. So I'll go ahead and just do npm run tunnel, like that. And you can see that the logs are being printed here. Ngrok tunnel established at our domain, then forwarding our domain to localhost 3000. So if I control click this, it's going to open in the browser. So let's give it seconds, and you see that our app is now accessible through the domain. So the domain is even secure. See, the connection is secure. And this domain is static, of course. So I add some items, and every part of the application that was working before is actually also working. And the other thing is that when you kill now the app with the Control C, the Ngrok tunnel will be killed, and also your Next.js app will also be stopped. So see that everything is off. So I'm going to leave the link to the GitHub repo in the description of this video so that you have full access of the code so far. Thank you for taking your time to watch the video. See you in the next one.